Hi there, it's time for XRP Wyckoff check, and this week we're going to look at whether XRP is finally getting into the accumulation zone. And if you're new to my session, these are the 3 key items I covered during the session. These are not financial advice, they're for education and research purpose only, and also for discussion with the asset tech community, including yourself. If you haven't subscribed, it's time to hit the button. This is the weekly chart of XRP, and for the past couple of weeks, I've been sharing that the way I see it is the price is coming down for potentially another sign of weakness. So very much like what happened back in April, the price come down to challenge the orange key level of $1.8. So that was what happened during end of March and early April. Not that during the automatic reaction it didn't challenge this. In February, it also came down to the current level. All right. So since mid-December, for the past 2.5 weeks, we have been very close to the same orange key level. Whether or not this will end up as a sign of weakness, or is it going to go all the way into accumulation, into the panic sell period, where whales also at the same time slowly get in, we probably still have to wait for another 2-3 weeks to find out. Because if the price really bounces off from this point and go back to challenge the 2.05 yellow key level before it comes back to the accumulation, that will essentially form the sign of weakness as well as the last point of supply. So something similar to November. All right, it came down, bounced from the yellow, and then set that little peak over there. All right, so that's the thing that we probably will see for the coming weeks. All right, if it doesn't, if it comes down straight, it won't be a surprise, because if you look into the past, sometimes after bouncing up, it just go back without another bounce. That's because we've got, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4 already. We've got 4 rebounds already. It's completely understandable that we don't get a 5th. Okay, going to the daily chart and trying to see what are the potential breakout or trend change timing. So currently the price is kind of stable above the orange key level of $1.8 for the past 10-12 days. All right, it came down to challenge on the December 18th and went even lower on the 19th. But for the remaining 10-12 days afterwards, it stayed pretty consistent above the orange without too much of a volume spike. So the volume stayed pretty low. Okay, so if that continues to stay low and trade sideways, we'll be able to see some form of trend change confirmation coming in within the first quarter. But in the big picture, however, even if it stabilizes or bounces up, the tendency of it still coming down to test the red key level of 1.55 is still relatively high. Let's hope it doesn't go too far, because look at what happened to October 10th, right? It went all the way to the lower half of the long-term playground. So this white solid box that tracks Ripple's price since 2017. So if it does come back down to the lower point or lower quarter, then there's still a long way to go. As of this moment, let's play safe and observe whether this is eventually transiting towards the stronger half of this downward channel. That's the prerequisite for the breakout or trend change to happen. It is moving towards the center line, so there's no guarantee it's going to pass the center, right? It can travel along or just get rejected and comes down to challenge the 1.55 key level. If it does give us like an LPSY, right? Like we talked about in the weekly chart. if it does come back, challenge the yellow key level, or go even slightly higher than the yellow, what does it look like in the daily? So it's going to be something like this. If you say, hey, if it really breaks out from this triangle by early Feb, what's going to happen, right? Would it continue sideways or even upwards, or is it going to start a new downtrend? Obviously, it depends on whether the capital is going to let XRP not having an accumulation cycle or just reaccumulate at this level and then shoot to the upthrust of the distribution. I mentioned previously, there's still a chance after the buying climax and upthrust, it's going to go to another peak if the timing is right. All right, it doesn't have to be always at this stage and then go straight to accumulation and go up again. It can accumulate just a quick reaccumulation, not like a big accumulation cycle. It accumulate a little bit higher and then shoot up before it actually decline. So there are multiple scenarios that can happen. As of now, trading volume is still low, so let's see what's going to happen when we get into 2026. That should be pretty interesting. All right, thanks for joining me. I'm moving on to the speedrun session for the AI, payment, and real-world asset. See you over there.